On Monday, September 14th at 6:30 p.m. via WebEx connection. This meeting has been given public notice in accordance with Wisconsin Statute Sections 19.83 and 19.84 in such form that will apprise the general public and news media of subject matter that is intended for discussion and action. Roll call shows all members present except for Mr. Williams, who is excused. This time, if there's anyone in the audience or joining us via WebEx that would like to participate in public input or public appearance, you're welcome to do so at this time. All I would ask is that you either state your name if you're via WebEx, or come to the podium and state your name and your address for the record if you're here for public input or public appearance. Is there anyone here for public input or public appearance? Sir? Something you'd like to bring to our attention? You can come forward and state your name and your address for the record, please. Unless it's involving any of the public hearings that we have tonight. Are you here for the public hearing?
Yes, I am.
Well, then I would wish to hold your comments until that time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's not a problem.
I'm sorry.
Not a problem. We can recognize you again at the time of the public hearing. All right, thank you. Anyone else? If not, we'll go to the approval of minutes from the July 13th, 2020 Plan Commission meeting.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve the minutes? No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That then takes us to our items of new business on tonight's agenda. Item A under new business is Christopher M. Voss, property owner located at West 168, North 12340 Century Lane, a conditional use permit for horticultural services. There's a public hearing and action from the Plan Commission on this item. To give us some more background and information on our first new business, item A, I'll turn the meeting over to our Assistant Planner, Emily Zant. Emily.
Thank you. So Christopher Voss is the owner of a New Leaf Tree Service and the property owner of the 16.2 acre property located on Century Lane. This site is zoned A2 agricultural. There's ag and residential to the north, agriculture and residential space to the south, and then residential to the west. The property does contain a single-family dwelling, detached garage, and a 75 by 150-foot pole barn, which is intended to be used for the storage of a New Leaf Tree Services Company vehicles. A New Leaf Tree Service is an off-site tree removal service primarily serving Washington and Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Ozaukee counties. A New Leaf Tree Service currently has a total of 8 employees. Employees will arrive to the site at approximately 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, park their personal vehicles in the area highlighted in yellow on the aerial image, and then take company vehicles to job sites. Employees will return to the site by 7 p.m. to drop off work vehicles and pick up their personal vehicles. All company vehicles will be stored inside the 75 by 150-foot pole barn, which is indicated with the red star on the screen. Company vehicles will include bucket trucks, chipper trucks, pickup trucks, stump grinders, chippers, dump trailer, and mini loaders. The applicant estimates that this equipment will take about half of the space in the pole building, so that's plenty of space for indoor storage of all vehicles. The tree material will be ground into mulch semi-annually and hauled off-site. There are no site or building improvements planned at this time. There will not be any retail or wholesale sale of mulch or other landscaping products from the subject property. A condition has been added to the conditional use permit prohibiting on-site retail or wholesale in the future. So staff comments. Staff did have some concerns about the location of the proposed outdoor storage. That location is visible from the property to the south. Staff did recommend in the conditions, including a screening requirement through planting of evergreen trees located just south of that orange area. On the screen, that is where tree material will be brought back to the site from the different jobs and stored on site. That will be mulched again semi-annually. The applicant has, based on the staff report concerns, the applicant has proposed alternative locations in the materials emailed yesterday. One of the options would be to store the tree material on the north side of the pole building. Oops, sorry. Highlighted in red there. Or on the north side of the house, they would have to remove some trees to store the tree material on site there. But it would be buffered to the north, to the west, and to the south. So those are a couple other options that the applicant has brought forward.
Yeah, the bigger area, the bigger area up there, the big square area there, that's a little higher ground up there.
Okay.
It'd be nicer, but then, they're basically all maple in there, and then there's spruce trees to the south. So I could leave a border up all the way around, but, that'd be kind of a bummer to remove the maples.
And I'll let you speak to that in just a minute, if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
So you can come up to a microphone so everyone can hear you. Another concern staff had was with the mulching and grinding of the tree material that's going to be brought back to the site. The applicant did indicate that the mulching and grinding will take place semi-annually. Staff has recommended a condition requiring mulching to be completed during business hours, so 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and that the applicant provide written notice to property owners within 500 feet of the subject property. This would be for grinding or mulching that would take place for 3 or more cumulative hours a day. Let's see, the operator would be encouraged to communicate with the surrounding property owners on a regular basis regarding activities to be conducted on site that may create excessive noise or dust. This property, as you may have noted, does have a shared driveway. The proposed use will bring additional traffic. Let's see if I can get back to that site plan here. So this property does include a shared driveway with the property to the south. The proposed use on this site will bring additional traffic of large vehicles on the driveway that it was not likely anticipated in the original driveway agreement. Additional feedback from the property owner to the south may result in the need to modify this existing agreement and future maintenance of the shared driveway. The applicant also indicated that they are open to ideas for modifying the agreement or the possibility of expanding the driveway to the north on their property, which is shown here in yellow, but would require the removal of a row of walnut trees on the north side of the driveway. We have not added the condition regarding this because it's between the two property owners, but it was just something we wanted to bring up for discussion. Lastly, after talking with our village surveyor today, we learned that the farm and nursery to the south has agreed to route all business traffic to the south following the completion of the Century and Lovers Lane reconstruction project. And staff recommends a condition that also requires this business to route all traffic to the south on Century Lane to 145, in order to reduce the traffic to the north end of Century Lane and Lovers Lane. So with that, staff does recommend approval of the conditional use permit for Christopher Voss and a New Leaf Tree Service to allow the operation of horticultural services business at the 16.2-acre property located on Century Lane, subject to 8 conditions. And then again, we wanted to, if the Plan Commission agrees, also add 2 additional conditions that were proposed this evening, which were to limit the mulching and grinding of tree material to 2 times per year, and requiring all business traffic to travel to and from the south on Century Lane to connect with Highway 145. And Dean, I do believe that we received an email today that you have and you'll share?
Yes.
Okay. That's it for me then.
All right, thank you, Planner Zant. I will open this public hearing by hereby stating, a notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held before the Village of Germantown Plan Commission at the Germantown Village Hall located on Mequon Road in Germantown on Monday, September 14th at 6:30 p.m. or later. The purpose of said hearing is to hear any and all parties, their attorneys, or agents for or against the application filed by the following applicant for a conditional use permit for horticultural services to be operated from the property described below pursuant to Section 17.13, subsection 2, subparagraph K of the Village Zoning Code. The applicant is Christopher M. Voss, agent for David K. Kantz, property owner, and the property is located at West 168, North 12340, Century Lane. And as mentioned, we did receive an email in regards to this that was asked to be read as part of the public hearing, and it is regarding Christopher M. Voss, agent for David C. Kantz, property owner, and we are the owners of West 168, North 12350, Century Lane, but unfortunately will be unable to attend tonight's meeting. Since our property is immediately adjacent to the above property on the east and to the south, we have concerns regarding the conditional use permit requested by Mr. Voss. Number 1, the noise of increased traffic not only next to us, but also on the soon-to-be updated, reconstructed Century Lane. Considering Mr. Voss and his employees, there will be over 4,000 additional vehicles, including construction equipment, each year traveling on Century Lane. Number 2, we also have a great concern about the reduced value of our property if this business is allowed next to a residential neighborhood. Please consider our concerns when making your decision. Thank you, Gail L. Ludke and Diane M. Takala. Is there anyone else that is wishing to come forward at this time to speak for or against the conditional use permit application? Anyone wishing to come forward? If you are, come to the podium and state your name and your address for the record.
Yeah, sorry, I came up prematurely before.
No problem.
Aaron Diener, West 168, North 12330, Century Lane. I am I would be to the south and west of the property. I'm slightly concerned about the noise as far as the chipping goes, as long as that's done during business hours. I mean, that's not as big of a deal. But I guess my main concern is we're finally getting a new road, and we're all really happy about that. I guess my concern is, and granted, Radke's is on that road, and they're abusing the road as well. I'm just more concerned as a taxpayer and even the rest of the community, we're redoing this road, how much damage, is the road going to be prematurely damaged with all the extra traffic, being that right now the road is horrible, and like I said, we're excited about finally getting a new road. So that's my main concern, is how much damage is going to be, or, how much extra traffic is going to be there to possibly damage the road, in the future. So,
Okay.
that's all I have.
All right, thank you for coming forward. Is there anyone else that wishes to come forward to speak for or against the conditional use permit for horticultural services located on the property in this described public hearing? Sir?
Hey, Chris Voss. Yeah, I would say, well, in regards to like wood and brush and the material that we'd be bringing back, I still plan on trying to get rid of all that I can for nothing. And then whatever I absolutely have to bring back, I'll turn into mulch and get rid of the mulch. But besides that, we leave in the morning. Like, I'd say we're usually out of there by like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then realistically, we probably get back usually around 3 or 4. And don't do any snow removal, so we're not out doing that all hours of the night. And then as in regards to those different areas, can you go back to that other map? Yeah. Yeah, like, I have no problem putting trees down this way, but that is a little bit lower area, but we could make that work. Also, this area is actually kind of bigger here, and that's all dead ash trees and box elders. You can see the dead ash in there. But if we cleared back that, we'd have an area there. Or else if we left the trees up around all 3 sides, but cleared out the middle here, that would be an area there that we could use.
Could I just ask a question from the audience? or-
You can, but you'd have to go step up to the microphone so that everybody can hear what the question is.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like medium duty, I got 2 bucket trucks and 2 dump trucks. Those are medium duty trucks. It's not like a big dump truck, like a quad axle dump truck. It's just carrying wood and chips. But then I'll say, those are the bigger trucks, the rest are just pickup trucks. Yeah, I mean, the only noise we'd really be making around there is maybe the tub grinding twice a year for probably a couple days on end, but then that would be that.
Maybe describe. So, my name is Doug Larson. I was the realtor that helped Chris purchase the property. It might be helpful, Chris, to explain what is involved, how much noise there is, what's that whole tub grinding thing about?
Yeah, that is a big noisy process, but there's plenty of space back there. And it will only happen like I said, maybe like a total of a week out of a year. Besides that, I don't want the stuff. I want to get rid of the wood. I want to get rid of the chips. And maybe Radke's wants one of the chips for around their plantings, things like that. But, I don't know. Everybody used to want this stuff for free, but now they're paying, like over at, I know Russ Wendland and Wendland Nursery over there and Josh. I've known them for a long time. But, yeah, I mean, even them, they charge for every load of chips you dump off, every load of wood you dump off, and I want to get rid of that, so. But that's not where I make my money. That's not what my main goal is there, to grind mulch. It's whatever I can't get rid of. So,
Do you own a chipper grinder, or would you rent it?
no, I'd be renting that. I mean, I used to use Purple Cow Organics, and I've been in this business for like this is the 21st year that I've been owning a tree company. I used to own another company out in Lisbon or Sussex. So that was a partnership that split up.
And this is then a new operation that you're looking to start in the same field?
No, it's not a new operation. I started this company back in 2008.
Where has it been running?
Juan Schneider Landscaping over in Menominee Falls off of, was it Good Hope and Marcy?
Mhm.
Yeah. I've been there for a handful of years, 5 years or so.
Director Etzler?
Yeah, I have a question about the tub grinding. In the application, it talked about 2 times a year. Tonight, you mentioned a couple days on end, I think was the phrase you used, and then later you said 1 week out of the year. So can you be a little bit more specific about
Yeah.
how many days and how many hours in a given day? Because the tub grinding is very noisy and dusty, and it can create impacts.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I let it build up to a point where we have to do the grinding and then have them come in. And then at that point, it would take a couple, 2-3 days. Then that's done. Then, repeat the cycle.
So 2 to 3 days twice a year?
Yeah, I don't figure on any more than that.
And how many hours in a given day?
Yeah, I mean, they're only gonna work, they're not gonna work through all hours of the night or anything, It would be during the day, probably 8 till 4 or something.
But a consecutive 8-hour day,
Yeah, because once they bring the machine in there, they wanna do it till it's done,
right?
Like I said, I wanna get rid of as much of it that I can.
Anyone have any other questions?
Just to get a little bit more clarity on what Chairman Walter was asking, so you don't bring an actual chipper to the sites that you go to and chip brush there? You
Well, yeah, we do that all the
You do
time.
that?
But then
So-
we bring back the chips.
the chips and you dump them there, and what, any other larger wood that you can't chip on site? Is that what you're storing there then?
Yeah,
Here?
correct,
Okay.
that's right.
Where's the proximity of your site to the river? Is it above it, below it, or somewhat close to it? Does your property touch the Menominee River anywhere?
It does at the way back. Yeah, it's all the way back by the railroad tracks there.
Okay.
So that's a 16-acre property altogether, so what do you think, like 8 or 9 of that is wooded and, so it would be all up away from there.
Is any of that in a floodplain, Jeff, that you know of?
There is floodplain when you get into like the woods. And my neighbor told me that it gets wet back in the woods.
Right along the river, either side of the river, that greenish color is the floodplain, gentlemen.
Yeah, before you get, probably the floodplain is between the 2 wooded areas on either side of the river.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think it.
Yeah, it's on the survey map.
So,
Yes, trustee Baum.
I have in my district a landscape company, and we set up all the rules, and this is for the neighbors out here. We set up all the rules, you're not allowed to do any work on the property, not allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
You're a landscape company, you go to people's trees, you cut their trees down, okay? Because you're a landscape, a horticulturist, you have tree trimming equipment, you got dead box elders and emerald ash in that area. You're gonna be cutting this down. You're gonna be running a chainsaw through this forest for days on end, on the weekends when you're free to do your own thing. That's what nobody anticipated in the landscaper that's in my district. They butt up against a residential subdivision, not country subdivision, a residential subdivision. I will get calls from those people all summer long. The noise is horrendous, the dust is horrendous, we're tired of living like this. It's too noisy. I am concerned about what you are going to do with this noise and what you are going to do. You showed one area is cutting down a whole run of trees. Well, that is going to be chainsaws running and chippers running for weeks on end.
Oh, we're quick. No, I can say that,
besides the tree work that needs to be done there right now, because the place was pretty overgrown, I mean, I plan on rolling in there and getting the tree work done, and then I got other people's properties to do, not tree work there.
I'm just preparing everybody.
Right.
This has been my experience. It's been a nightmare for me having to listen to the residents and knowing there's nothing I can do about it. Yes, sir?
But you will admit, you have to admit, that there's a certain amount of property maintenance that a given owner can do on his property, regardless of what his profession is.
That is what I go back to them with every day.
They put the both together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must have a different operation
It's a
going on.
landscape company.
'Cause yeah.
He's running his business on his property. It's,
Yeah, it won't be like that by us. I mean, like I said,
you say that, but,
Yeah, we can get
No,
into some of
I
that
can-
discussion when we bring it up for action.
okay.
Mr. Leshewski.
How many neighbors are within 500 feet of the, I guess, the outside perimeter of the property, do we know?
Yeah, I believe it's like 7 residential properties.
yeah, really, we're usually gone, and there's no noise going on. But, yeah, I don't know, maybe the landscaper has a different operation going on, or maybe they're cutting up their wood and the firewood and stuff like that, but I don't do any of that. You know, so, I mean, basically, we're gone all day, every day, from morning till night. But when I move in there right away, I got some cleanup to do.
Okay. Anything else you want to bring to our attention as part of the public hearing?
Not really.
Okay, then, anybody else that wishes to come forward to speak for or against the conditional use permit is welcome to do so. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak for or against? Yes, sir. Just need you to state your name and your address for the record. Come up to the podium, please. Thank you, sir.
Jim Schwefel. I'm at West 168, North 12438 Century Lane. And my concern is the noise. It's a quiet area, and, you know, you get home from work, you go out on the deck, and it's really the last place I want to hear is some grinder going all night, or first they say 3 hours, and you're saying 8 hours, and it's a couple of times, it's, you know, I thought it was a couple of times 3 hours, you know. So that's my concern, is the noise. I'm not really concerned about the traffic too much, you know.
Yeah, I'll really say that besides me moving in there and having to do some cleanup around there and get our little area set up wherever they let me.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna be quiet.
Okay, I'm just concerned about the noise.
Well, thank you for coming forward. Is there anyone else that wishes to come forward at this time to speak for or against the conditional use permit for horticultural services on the property located on Century Lane?
Sorry, I'm back. I just have a question. I just want to clarify, like the grinding will be done like during the week, during the day? Like, so we wouldn't have to listen to it on a Saturday or Sunday?
Correct.
Okay. And I understand cleanup. I've been cutting down trees. My neighbors have to listen to me with a chainsaw, cutting stuff down myself. But yes, that property is way overgrown. I helped the previous owner on stuff. So as far as cleanup goes, there's quite a bit to do there. But yeah, I mainly wanted to clarify like mainly the grinding stuff, so.
Yeah, you know what I plan on doing too when I get in there, I mean, I have 8 guys, you know, so you get in there, it's just with the right foot, go straighten that place up quick and
Oh yeah, you'll be able to knock it out quick, so.
yeah,
No,
do that
all right.
real quick.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to come forward to speak for or against the application for the conditional use permit? Sir?
Yeah, I just wanted, my name's Doug Larson. I'm with First Weber Realtors. I helped Chris buy the property, and I've known Chris for about 5 years. He's a hardworking, very responsible business owner. Like he said, he's been working, renting space out of Juan Schneider's Landscaping, and he's been looking for the right property for the last couple of years. And he rolled the dice on this one. You know, this was an opportunity for him to purchase the property, and he knew that he would need to go up and apply for the conditional use. And, you know, Emily was excellent to work with to help us, you know, go through all the processes for the application. And, you know, I just want to attest that Chris is, you know, he follows the rules, he's hardworking, he does a good job with his employees, he has a well-run business, and I have found him to be a very responsible person, and, you know, a good business operator, so, for whatever that's worth.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to come forward at this time to speak for or against the conditional use permit application? Anyone else? If there is no one else, we'll close this public hearing and take up new business item A for action. Board?
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for Christopher Voss and A New Leaf Tree Service with the 8 conditions as already presented.
And you're going to save the other 2 for amendments? or-
Yes, yes.
Okay. Motion made, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Shadid. Discussion. Trustee Baum.
I'll make a motion to add condition number 9, which is that the business traffic is to be routed south from the residence down
Century Lane.
Century Lane and not go north and west.
Motion made to amend, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Kimmler. Discussion on the motion to amend. Mr. Leshewski.
Can I see it on a map, the potential routing?
A map or the aerial?
Whatever's clearest, I have a hard time visualizing.
So Century Lane, dog legs to the left, just above the yellow box, and it goes out to Maple?
Division.
Division.
It's actually Lover's Lane.
Out to 140. I thought the south one goes,
Lover's Lane goes out to Division.
okay. Lover's Lane is the east-west,
Yes.
Okay.
Here is Century Lane, and
Yeah.
it meets up with,
145 to the south.
Okay, yep.
And then Lover's Lane goes out here to Division.
Okay. Lover's Lane has more residential on it. Century Lane, it's commercial, basically, for the most part.
Further discussion? Any further discussion on a motion to amend? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Back to the motion as amended. Trustee Baum.
I'll make another amendment to add condition number 10, which would limit the grinding with a, what was the name of the machine?
Tub grinder.
With a tub grinder to 2 times per year with the maximum extent of 5 days each time during the hours of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
You want to add that to number 5?
I thought this was already in there somewhere, but is that, number 5 limits it?
Well, number 5 addresses it. It says the operator has indicated that trees and branches brought to the site will eventually be processed into mulch semi-annually. In the event heavy grinding, shredding equipment will be used on-site to process plant material into mulch for an extended period of time, which is defined herein as more than 3 consecutive or cumulative hours per day. The operator shall provide all residents living within 500 feet of the subject property a minimum 3-day written notice indicating the approximate days and times said grinding, shredding equipment will be operating.
And yes, I'll go ahead and add that to number 5 instead of making a condition 10. But I want to put limits on this, that it's 5 consecutive days, twice a year, maximum of 8 to 5 for those 5 days, Monday through Friday. So it's not done on the weekends, it's not done after hours, but you should be able to tolerate it if he gives you notice. In my neighborhood, there's a gentleman with a severe hearing problem. He has to go hibernate in his basement, and I don't want that in this neighborhood. So that's my motion.
Motion made, do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded. Discussion on the motion to amend. Mr. Kimlett?
Does it mention somewhere else in here, I thought I read it, I can't find it right now, that the grinding of, the tub grinding can occur from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.? Does this number 5 conflict with any other?
Yeah, so
Points in there.
condition number 1 states that the days and hours of operation, including the semi-annual mulching, shall be limited to Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we can just take out that semi-annual mulching from there, and then
Okay.
specify 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
You want me to add that to my motion, my amendment?
Sure, maybe, yep.
Okay.
Just take out,
So included in my motion to amend number 5 is to remove including semi-annual mulching from number 1. And then you can run your business 7 to 7, but you can only do this mulching thing from 8 to 5. Then everybody else is at work, theoretically.
And that change is okay with the second?
Yes.
I just had a couple of questions.
I need you to come to the microphone, sir, so that everybody that's watching or is part of the WebEx can hear you.
Well, for one, I just didn't know if you guys had a preference on, I had the one original area back there with planting the trees, that orange area, or if I could make my own choice and take one of the other 2 areas. That's my
Personally,
question.
my preference would be the orange or what's above the blue, since you're going to be tearing out dead trees above the blue anyway.
Yeah.
Then
The barn.
I'm shielded sound by the barn and from a grove of trees. If you go forward, I'm getting closer to residential. If you go in the orange, I got a clear shot to the residential to the side. So I would actually prefer above the barn, north of the barn,
Okay.
personally.
Well, I would too, because then we're just taking down basically dead trees.
And I recognize that, and I think that would be wise.
And that project, I mean, my guys, that'll be a day, Like I said, I'm gonna have them clean up the place, and then besides that, then we're out at other properties. We're not making noise around there. And then the second question is, I don't know how easy it would be, but if I could get a list of the homeowners within 500 feet there, okay. That's my 2 questions.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
We haven't voted on that motion yet, correct?
No.
All right, further discussion on a motion to amend.
Could you please clarify? I'm having a tough time hearing it.
Sure.
The motion?
Yes.
Yes, please.
The motion is now to change item number 5.
I have one more question. This is technical, but
Can I ask it?
But let's clarify the motion, and then you'll be able to ask it. So just give us a couple minutes here. Clarify your motion.
Is to change item number 5. The operator has indicated that trees and brush brought to the site will eventually be processed into mulch semi-annually. In the event heavy grinding, shredding equipment will be used on site to process this material into mulch for an extended period of time, i.e. defined herein as 3 consecutive or cumulative hours per day. I am and then it goes on, the operator shall provide residents, that part there, define herein as more than 3 consecutive or cumulative hours per day. I am limiting, my motion is to limit the total use of this tub grinder on site to 2 times a year for 5 consecutive days, 8 hours per day maximum. And then the operator shall provide residents living within 500 feet of subject property minimum 3 days' notice. And associated with that, we're going up to number 1 and eliminating including semi-annual mulching in the days of operation. So they can run their business 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 365 days a year, but they can only do this mulching process 2 5 consecutive day periods throughout a year. And during that time, they can run it from 8 to 5.
Total hours, 8 to 5, or 8 hours within that 8 to 5 window?
I'll give them the 9 hours. Everybody's going to be at work during that time, supposedly. So I'll go 8 to 5, period.
Any questions on the motion to amend? All right, sir? You got another question?
If I set up the storage of the wood and the storage of the wooden chips behind that building in the smaller red area, do you still want me to plant the trees off the back corner of the building to block that area if it's not going to be exposed?
No.
I personally don't see a need for that, and I won't make a motion to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be condition 4. If we're going to move the storage to the north side of the pole building, we can essentially eliminate condition number 4.
If, have we decided that is where it has to go now?
Right now, we're working on a different motion to amend.
Yeah, so I got a lot of ifs in there, so let's get...
Yeah, or maybe make it so that, if it should have to change over time or something, then I would have to install the trees.
Let's get number 5 dealt with, and I'll come back and deal with 4.
Okay.
Further discussion on the motion to amend? No further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Back to the motion as amended. Further discussion? Trustee Bone.
Let me read it aloud. The property owner, this is item number 4. The property owner shall develop a landscape plan for screening the outdoor storage of tree material on the east side of the pole barn. This landscape plan shall be approved by planning and zoning staff prior to recording of the CUP and shall be installed no later than June 1st, 2021. If you put the material to the north of the barn, between the barn and the trees, that is where we are going to say it is going. You don't have to do item number 4 because I believe you're screened.
Okay.
If you're telling me that sometime in the future you may spew out of there and it may go into other areas, then item 4 still has to come into play.
Okay.
So are we limiting it to north of the building, or do you think you're going to spew into the orange zone?
Well, it's hard to tell right now.
Where are you going to park your tub grinder?
Well, yeah, we'll have to figure it out, but maybe behind that garage, or, yeah, I guess that's something I hadn't thought about.
So I'm just going to leave this in here, because if you end up moving this pile to the east, then you need to come back and talk to planning about having a screening plan, per number 4.
Further discussion on the motion as amended.
Where am I at? We've approved 5 now, or are we still talking about 5?
No, we approved 5.
We approved 5.
Any further discussion?
I'll just voice my opinion to the neighbors. If you hear him cutting trees with a chainsaw, don't call anybody. He's not running his business cutting down his own trees. He's doing his own yard work, just like anybody else is doing.
I've been back there.
He can rent a chipper and chip all day long, cutting down his own trees. There's nothing that we can do about this. Is there anything that I should tell them more about our other
Be
encounter?
within the regular noise ordinance. I mean, you wouldn't be doing it at 11 o'clock at night.
Right, they'd be
Yeah.
subject to the regular noise ordinance after 10 PM.
Right.
Just want everybody to be aware that this guy's got chainsaws, he's got equipment. He's allowed to use them.
I personally like trees though. I just gotta straighten up and mess around.
Yeah, that's what I heard from the other guy too. Just clearing out dead trees. Well, they seem to die every year, so,
Especially ashes.
yeah.
Further discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Is there one opposed? Was there one opposed?
No.
No? Then motion passes. Thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you for your input. Thank you for everybody that came forward at the public hearing for their input as well and your time spent here tonight. Thank you.
And this item will go before the village board on October 5th.
Just so you know, it has to have a village board approval, and so there is one other vote at the village board for this conditional use permit. Next item under new business is item B, MSI General Agent for Mold Makers Leasing and Investment LLP, property owner, and MGS Manufacturing Group, Inc., located at West 190 North 11701 Mold Makers Way. Site plan review for 121,191 square foot industrial building addition and a certified survey map, lot combination, and street row vacation request. That is for action before this commission. To give us more information on this new business item, I'll turn the meeting over to our Director of Community Development, Jeff Retzloff. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Kutz with MSI General, agent for Mold Maker Leasing and Investment LLP, the property owner, and MGS Manufacturing Group is requesting approval of 2 applications before you this evening, a certified survey map to combine parcels and a site plan for a 121,000 square foot facility expansion. The MGS Manufacturing Group is located in the industrial park off of Mold Maker Way, south of Fulton, west of Maple. MGS Manufacturing is a worldwide producer of tooling, molding, and equipment technology used in the manufacturing of plastic injection molded parts, serving the healthcare, automotive, consumer, and electronic markets. They have their offices here in Germantown, and they're looking to expand their facilities. You advance that for me, Emily? Thank you. Here's another aerial view of the site. Highlighted in red are the approximately 24 acres of land. It's currently split into 4 parcels with Mold Makers Way, cul-de-sac about 800 feet long, running through the middle of it. This area was created back in 1995. The CSM proposal, Mold Maker Leasing is proposing to combine all 4 of the parcels that they own into the one 24-acre parcel, and are also proposing to vacate Mold Maker's Way, the right-of-way, to accommodate their facility expansion. For some of you already know that the village board considered and adopted Resolution 53-20 back on August 26th as a preliminary step to introduce the concept of vacating Mold Makers Way, and they will be holding a public hearing and taking final action on that proposal on October 5th at the Village Board meeting. At this point, you can see the property includes two buildings, a molding building, approximately 166,000 square feet on the west side of the property, on the west side of Mold Makers Way, and a tooling building, approximately 50,000 square feet in size, located on the east side of the property. The molding building expansion that's proposed is 121,191 square feet. As you can see, again, the molding building on the west, the tooling building on the east, and the proposed expansion, basically where Mold Makers Way currently is located, 121,191 square feet. As part of the expansion, the right-of-way will be vacated. Some parking will be removed in front of the existing molding building and replaced as part of a reconstructed parking area located south of Fulton, north of the proposed addition, with a total of 355 parking stalls, for a total of 559 stalls throughout the property. A new driveway on Fulton will be located into that parking area. There will also be a new driveway constructed onto Maple Road. Currently, MGS does not have access directly to Maple Road, but will with a south driveway leading from the south side of the facility expansion and a loading dock area. As part of the warehouse and 16-dock loading dock distribution facility, there will be an 8-inch water main looping around the site, along the south and along the west perimeter to loop and connect existing water main between Fulton and Maple Road. Also, there will be constructed on-site infiltration and a wet detention basin in the southeast corner of the property, along with on-site storm sewer that will be constructed throughout the site. I've got a floor plan here that shows essentially it's a high-rack storage area for the proposed expansion. The elevations, maximum height of 45 feet of precast concrete panels with a corduroy and another texture material, along with a painted banding, accent banding, a blue banding near the top of the building as shown on the elevation renderings. I would point out, if we can jump back to the site plan. Yeah, that one, that's good. In this vicinity here, just east of the proposed expansion is a Phase 2 expansion, anywhere from 88 to 117,000 square feet possible. That would be part of a subsequent addition to the facility and would actually link all of the buildings at that point on the site. But that would be handled as part of a separate site plan approval submitted into the future. Getting back to the elevations, it's essentially a flat roof with no roof-mounted mechanicals. All of the HVAC units will be internal, as indicated by MSI General. Proposed landscaping lighting on the site is minimal landscaping within the parking area and along the north side of the proposed building expansion. There's some additional street trees that will be added on Fulton in the vicinity where Mold Makers Way will be vacated. And I would point out, as indicated in the staff report, there were some wetlands that were found on the property. A total of 5 small wetland areas that have evolved over time. 4 of those are highlighted in the sort of orange color internal to the site in the vicinity where the building expansion is proposed. Those 4 wetlands, along with portions of the 5th wetland, which runs along the ditch along the south side of the property, have been deemed to be artificial wetlands by the DNR and the Army Corps, and therefore they're exempt from regulation, as well as exempt from village regulation, so those wetlands will be filled, those 4 out of the 5. The 5th wetland will remain and will continue to be regulated, which, because of the proposed drive and expansion of the stormwater facilities on the site, they're falling within the 25-foot wetland setback. So another application will be required, a conditional use permit, to enable that encroachment into the 25-foot wetland setback. That process was discovered as we were going through the initial review. That application has been filed, but it will be presented to the Plan Commission at their next meeting. At this point, the staff recommendation is to approve the certified survey map to combine the 4 parcels into one 24-acre parcel, and to approve the necessary resolution to vacate the 1.3 acre right-of-way for Mold Makers Way, subject to one condition. And the second recommendation is to approve the site development and building plans for the 121,191 square foot industrial building expansion and related site improvements to the MGS manufacturing campus located on Mold Makers Way in the Germantown Industrial Park, subject to 7 conditions, all of which are included in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
I will make a motion to approve the certified survey map to combine the 4 lots and to approve the necessary resolution to vacate the 1.317 acre right-of-way for Mold Makers Way as presented with the one condition.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion on the motion to approve. No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Trustee Baum.
I make a motion to approve the site development and building plans for the 121,000 plus square foot industrial building and related site improvements for MGS Manufacturing Campus as presented with the 7 conditions.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Kimmler. Any discussion on that motion to approve? Mr. Leshewski.
Question I had was the number of parking spaces on site. I mean, I know we have a minimum number of parking spaces, but in this case, isn't there something like 550 or something, a requirement for like roughly 150, depending on the number of shifts they have?
Yeah, the parking guidelines in our zoning code are just that. They're not hard and fast requirements as much as they are recommendations for parking. With respect to the MGS operation, they do have 3 shifts, but they also have a significant amount of warehouse space that isn't generating a significant amount of need for parking. In fact, I didn't mention it tonight, but in the staff report, we do talk about how they're expecting this expansion will result in approximately 10 additional employees on the site. So the amount of parking that is proposed as part of the reconstruction of the parking area, as well as additional parking that exists on the west side of the molding building and around the tooling building, is sufficient to accommodate the parking.
We don't have anything in the village code or whatever that, if you have excessive parking or excessive impervious soils or surfaces, to kind of reduce that as part of the reconstructing the property. I know we're always concerned about not enough parking. In this case, there's so much parking, it's almost a detractor, but.
No, we don't have any specific provision in the code that requires or even encourages the reduction of impervious area. If that were the case, we'd probably reconsider our parking stall size, which we've done over the years, and always sort of kick it back and keep it at 180 square feet. With that said, though, there is sort of a built-in incentive to the developers. In this case, they're having to put on-site stormwater detention because the existing regional basin in the area is insufficient to handle the additional runoff. So their incentive to reduce the size of the on-site stormwater is to reduce the amount of impervious area to that which they only really need. It's kind of a backdoor approach to reducing impervious area, but if it is something that the Planning Commission is concerned about, we could take a look at it. Not with regard to this project,
Yeah,
but
no,
just
it's
generally.
we don't encounter it very often, but I think we'll encounter it more and more just based on the efficiencies of plants and manufacturing processes where somebody's trying to convert a property or whatnot, all of a sudden you end up with a sea of asphalt that after a while becomes poorly maintained, it's a heat sink, and because of the runoff issue. So I would think that kind of the economics of a project would take care of that itself, but maybe not.
Right, and maybe even now as a result of recent events, as more and more people are working from home and not necessarily needing to go to a particular place, that the parking demand may be reducing, just naturally, if you will, over time.
It's a moving target. Thanks.
Autonomous car is going to
Further discussion on the motion to approve the site plan review? That was just that motion, correct? Just the
Yes.
site plan, yes.
No, yeah, that's all I do.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Next item under new business, thank you, sir, for coming, is item C, Bauer Sign and Lighting, agent for Fannerstill LLC, property owner of Toolcraft Machining, Inc., located at West 194, North 11092, Kleinman Drive, sign review. To give us some more information and background on this new business item, I'll turn the meeting over to the Associate Planner, Emily Zant.
Thank you. So Toolcraft Machining is located on Kleinman Drive, just south of Mequon Road. The site is zoned M1 Limited Industrial and is surrounded by Limited Industrial and Highway Business zoning. The proposed ground sign is a 27 square foot per side, 54 square foot total, double-sided, internally illuminated aluminum cabinet to replace the existing ground sign. The sign will be placed on an approximately 16-inch tall base with a total height of 5 feet and 8 inches. The base will be the same material as the building. A landscaping plan has been submitted and meets the required 3-foot minimum on all sides of the base of the sign. The white background on the sign is opaque and only the letters will be illuminated at night. 5-inch address coordinates will be located on the base of the sign. So it's staff's recommendation to approve the proposed ground sign for Toolcraft Machining, subject to a condition of obtaining electrical permits from inspection services prior to the installation of any electrical components.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed ground sign for Toolcraft Manufacturing, subject to the one condition as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve? No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Next item under new business is item D, Innovative Signs, agent for JBJ Com LP, property owner of Teriyaki Madness, located at West 182, North 9606, Appleton Avenue, a sign review application. Give us some more information and background on this new business item. We'll turn our meeting again over to the Associate Planner, Emily Zant.
Thank you. So the subject property is located on Appleton Avenue, just north of County Line Road. The site zoning is B3 General Business, and is surrounded by B3 General Business, B1 Neighborhood Business, and a couple PDD zoning, commercial zoning districts. So the proposed wall sign is 35 square feet. It's LED internally illuminated vinyl channel letters, which will be attached with raceway mounts. The sign will be placed on the west elevation of the building, right over the entrance of the restaurant. They're also proposing a face replacement on the existing sign. Excuse me. On the existing pylon sign, and that will be internally illuminated acrylic and vinyl. That also meets the requirements. So it's staff's recommendation to approve the proposed ground sign for Teriyaki Madness, subject to a condition which requires electrical permits, again, from Inspection Services.
All right, thank you.
I'll make the motion to approve the proposed wall and pylons replacement face for Teriyaki Madness with the one condition as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve? No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
I think there's two ayes.
Okay. Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Next item under new business is new business item E, Signworks agent for Heather Lake LLC, property owner of Glue Dots International, located at North 117, West 18711, Fulton Drive, sign review application. Emily.
Okay. So Glue Dots is located on the east side of Maple Road, south of Fulton Drive in the industrial park. The zoning is M1 limited industrial. It's surrounded on the north, east, and west by limited industrial zoning. And then to the south is the Germantown Fire Department, which is zoned institutional. So the proposed ground signs, there's just one proposed ground sign, which will be 42.5 square feet per side, 85 square feet total, double-sided ribbed metal panel cabinet, which will be the same panels as used on the building. The ground sign will be located in the northwest corner of the property, indicated by the yellow X on the screen. The sign cabinet will be placed on a 2-foot tall concrete base, giving this sign a total height of 7 feet. The proposed sign will not be illuminated. The 5-inch address coordinates will be located on the base of the sign. They are also proposing two 25-square-foot non-illuminated aluminum panel wall signs with blind mounting. These signs will be placed on the west and the south elevations of the recent building addition. And lastly, they are proposing directional signage, so two 6-square-foot double-sided non-illuminated aluminum post and panel signs, which will be located on the north side of the west drive and the north side of the east driveway. So it's staff's recommendation to approve the proposed ground, wall, and directional signs for Glue Dots International, subject to the following condition, which is a landscaping plan meeting the 3-foot on all sides of the ground sign requirement, and submitting that to the Community Development Department.
Move approval of the proposed ground wall and directional signs for Glue Dots, and with the one condition from the brand side.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve? No discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Next item under new business, thank you, sir, for coming. Next item under new business is item F, Chaz Hastings, agent for W.I. Piggy LLC, property owner of Jerry's Old Town Inn and Von Rothenberg Beer Stube, located at North 116, West 15841, and North 116, West 15863, Main Street, a certified survey map lot combination. To give us more information and background on this, we'll turn the meeting over to our Community Development Director, Jeff Retzloff. Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Both of the properties are zoned B3 General Business located on Main Street. The proposal is to combine the Beer Stuba and the Old Town Inn parcels into 1.76 acre parcel. Both are owned by W.I. Piggy LLC. The CSM that's proposed will maintain an existing 10-foot access easement that is located between Main Street and the south side of the property. It runs generally between the existing buildings. The access easement is for the benefit of the property owner to the south. Jerry Grossnick owns the 5+ acre property that wraps around these two parcels to the east and to the south. When you look at an area photograph, you'll see there's an old shed on the south side of the, let me skip back here. That 10-foot wide access easement actually runs right along that yellow dashed line, which is the current property line between the two parcels.
You go under that drive-through?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought there was an easement on the opposite side.
Yeah, I thought it was, sorry, but it's actually on the red line.
No, the one we're talking about is the one that runs right through here for purposes of that. I reached out to Jerry last week, and he finally responded over the weekend, and his response was simply, I want to retain my rights to that 10-foot wide access easement. So it's on the proposed CSM. I don't know that he's ever used it. Maybe, Chaz, you would know if he's ever really used it for any particular purpose, but that may...
Exactly what it means, like there just has to be a clean shot to that.
Has to be the ability for him to get access to that shed or to his property through that 10-foot wide area. So as we look further into further expansion of the beer garden, we need to take that into consideration. The CSM is essentially a prerequisite for a bigger plan that Mr. Hastings has to expand the beer garden on the Beer Stuba property. We have issued a temporary use permit for this year to allow some expansion of the beer garden. This essentially, CSM would eliminate the property line between the two parcels, enabling more expansion, if you will, to go onto or across that common property line, again, but taking into account that access easement. As indicated in the staff report, the original proposal also included the creation of a special zoning district for the .76 acre property. That we will be working on going forward, but this is sort of the first step to that, combining the parcels into one. The staff recommendation is to approve, subject to one condition, which has some technical corrections recommended by the village surveyor.
Commissioners?
I will make a motion to approve the proposed one-lot certified survey map to combine the two parcels owned by W.I. Piggy LLC with the one condition as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion on the motion to approve. So is there an easement on the opposite side? Because when we had proposed a development behind, I thought there was a shared driveway or some sort of easement along that other side that as well.
Well, it's not so much an easement as it is a piece of the property runs along the east, what would be the east side of the Old Town property, on the left on this aerial. Let's see if I can't get back to something a little...
Jerry's development proposal back then had that tongue that's stuck up next to the property, but not on the property.
There was a driveway proposed,
Yeah,
and it was intended to be sort of a shared driveway, if you will, with the Old Town Inn property. But it's not an actual easement, it's a strip of the land, the 5-acre land that is attached to the larger parcel that lies south.
so the southern property is a flag-shaped property. It's got a stem that sticks up to the road.
Yes, it drops down here, it opens up, and in fact runs down to the railroad track and back around. It's 5 acres, over 5 acres in size.
But it has street access on its own.
It does have, yes.
And is that a result of the properties, is that a result of the properties, some properties being added together over time? Because this easement is perplexing.
There's a street access, I don't recall, with the 5 acres, I didn't think there was anywhere that, we looked at the parking line way back when we looked at that park that we were in.
Yeah, when we came across that, that's when I remember, east of your parking lot, there is a corridor of land that connects to that southern acreage.
Yes, there is.
And that is back then what we were using to connect to there.
Right. And that in and of itself was part of the concern, if you will, not so much with the park proposal that Chaz had, but a previous multifamily senior living development,
55
but that
number.
driveway was too close to the intersection
Yeah.
to accommodate traffic that might be coming off of Fond du Lac Avenue, turning left and westbound on Main Street, and then wanting to turn left into there. There's not enough stacking space, or there wasn't at the time. So, the issue with the 5-acre parcel still exists. I mean, how do you serve that large of a property with basically just one street access or frontage that's fairly narrow in size?
Yeah, but if you try to propose something on that 5-acre parcel, and you want to rely on this 10-foot easement that goes underneath his canopy,
That wouldn't work. No.
I'm never going to approve that.
No.
It could be the outbound, either way.
It is the outbound.
Yeah. But,
And that's not official, but that's the route that everybody thinks, you know.
I mean, it's there. Jerry wants to maintain it. I don't know that he's ever really used it. So for legal purposes, it's shown on the proposed CSM, but for all intents and purposes, it may very well be an abandoned easement.
You would just renegotiate a shared access agreement in return from abandoning that, I would think.
but he's got access, is what I'm getting at. The 5 acres is connected to Main Street.
Right, but if he knows that you're not going to approve any development on his 5 acres with just one driveway, that's maybe the card he's holding.
Not going to use that.
Rather go out to 145.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, as was the case with the park proposal and the senior living proposal, access to that is critical and needs to be figured out.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did that. It's all figured out.
Right.
It's all solved.
All we need to do is
Different topic.
redevelop everything north of the railroad track.
Did I make a motion?
You did.
Okay.
And there's discussion, current discussion. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Hastings, for spending your time with us.
Thank you.
That takes care of all items on tonight's agenda under new business. Does anyone have any announcements they'd like to make?
Yes, I would, I'd like to propose having a special plan commission meeting at the end of the month on the fourth Monday on the 28th, so we can restart our 2050 plan discussions, jump back into reviewing some of our past activities, our status, our schedule, and also kind of pick up to the extent that we can, going over our neighborhood district and corridor mapping effort. try and ease back into a schedule that we'll probably have to hit it hard beginning in October as far as getting back on track, or on a track.
Done with it, was it November originally?
Our last meeting, oh, I'm sorry,
Like, what was our originally scheduled end date for that project? Do you remember?
December, January. And we've discussed with the consultant that that's just not going to work at this point. So we're,
I'm good with that.
I'm okay.
Do you want to reach out to those citizens at large that were showing up? That were participating in that?
well, we'll
make announcements. and
make the
notice.
announcement and we'll post the meeting.
I'll reach out to them as a courtesy.
If you want to reach out to them, that would be fine. But we didn't reach out to them originally, they just kept,
I kept telling them about it.
oh, okay.
There you go.
I was being inundated by them. So, yes, I will reach out to them and let them know. Special meeting on the 28th.
So can anybody else make it at this point, or do you know, do you need to look, check schedules?
I think I'm good with it.
I'm good.
Peter says yes.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'll do it.
Okay, very
All
good. Any other announcements?
I just want to bring something up, if I may.
Sure?
When you're operating remote, like I know Peter and I are, it's very difficult to hear anybody except someone at the podium, and Jeff, your microphone seems to come through just fine. Virtually everybody else is kind of like hit and miss. Most of the time we miss words or phrases. Looks like there's some investigation into the way the microphones are set up that might be of help. Two of them work fine.
All right, we'll take that into account. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Anything else? If there's nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.
Good night.
Right.